A sinister laugh pierces the silence of the African savanna, soon joined by the sounds of flesh tearing and bones being pulverized. Haunting, arched-back creatures dart around their meal, ripping it apart with their enormous jaws. In just 25 minutes, an entire zebra is devoured. Skin, hooves, bones, teeth, and all. Only a pool of blood remains. The spotted hyena is the most numerous large predator in Africa, with an estimated 27,000 to 47,000 individuals living in the wild. Their habitat includes all types of environments, such as forests, swamps, mountains, and deserts. And their reputation among humans, wherever they may be, is largely negative. They're often seen as ugly, cowardly, and gluttonous, the evil cronies who helped Scar kill Mufasa, the shady lowlifes who lurk in the shadows waiting for an opportunity to steal a more noble animal's meal. Their cackling is unsettling, and their large teeth, hunched-over figure, and darting movements are menacing. But hyenas are so much more than just creepy. They are remarkably intelligent and extremely effective hunters, largely because they don't operate alone. They live in clans of 6 to over 100 individuals, larger than any wolf pack, lion pride, or orca pod. And these groupings aren't just a bunch of individuals who happen to coexist near each other. These clans are incredibly sophisticated, and their social structure is unlike that of any other carnivore. But sophisticated doesn't mean pleasant. The lives of spotted hyenas are filled with brutal and constant competition with other members of their clan. To even get a chance at eating a meal, a spotted hyena must prove its dominance over the others again and again. And for the males, this is even more difficult, because females always dominate them. And while a matriarchal group of animals is not unheard of, it gets even weirder. Female hyenas are not just in charge, they've also evolved so that their genitals look almost exactly like male genitalia. They urinate, mate, and even give birth through this pseudo-penis. Why do hyenas live in such big groups when these groups are filled with constant fighting? Why are the females in charge? And why did their reproductive organs evolve to be indistinguishable from a male's? Of the 4 species of hyena, the spotted or laughing hyena is the largest. And while most people compare hyenas to dogs, they actually have more in common genetically with cats and are even more closely related to mongooses and civets. And the size of a spotted hyena might surprise you. They are not the scraggly little mutts Disney makes them out to be. They're actually as large or larger than wolves, weighing up to 86 kilograms or 190 pounds and reaching 1.8 meters in length. And for its size, the spotted hyena has one of the strongest skulls of any carnivore. Hyenids are the only existing animal who evolved to crack bones with their jaws, and spotted hyenas are the top among them. Their bite can exert a pressure of 80 kilogram force per square centimeter, or 1,140 psi, which is 40% more force than a lion can generate, and 15% more than a grizzly bear. Wild hyenas have even been seen cracking open giraffe femurs, which measure 7 centimeters in diameter. The teeth of a spotted hyena are built exactly for this. The upper and lower third premolars are enormous conical bone crushers. Compare this to an African lion. It's a voracious predator, but does not have the bone-crushing molars that a hyena does. In addition to this, the spotted hyena has a pronounced sagittal crest to which extremely strong jaw muscles are attached. This bone-cracking ability allows them to take advantage of a food source that is inaccessible to most animals. But they weren't always so formidable. Before the spotted hyena diverged from the striped and brown hyenas 10 million years ago, Its direct ancestor would have been a smaller, scavenger-type hyena that could maybe crush some bones, but not take down massive prey. But at one point in their evolution, spotted hyenas developed sharp carnassials behind their crushing premolars, teeth that cut through tough skin like scissors. These teeth becoming bigger and sharper meant the hyenas no longer had to wait for their prey to die to eat it, as is the case with solitary scavengers like the brown hyena. They had evolved to become social hunters. Unlike other types of hyenas, spotted hyenas kill about 95% of their food themselves. Scientists have ranked their hunting abilities on par with that of lions and cheetahs. Their large bodies likely evolved as a result of the transition from scavenging to hunting. Scavenger hyenas tend to be smaller to use less energy while covering great distances in order to find a meal, whereas social hunters need to be bigger to take down large prey. But that's not to say hyenas can't travel great distances and travel fast. Their extra long front legs let them run at speeds up to 60 kilometers per hour, chasing down prey for sometimes kilometers at a time. The size of their prey depends on if they're hunting alone or in a group. While solo, they'll go after smaller animals like birds, rabbits, porcupines, and fish. As their numbers grow, they choose bigger and bigger prey, from gazelles and warthogs to buffalo and even young rhinos. Once they catch their meal, spotted hyenas give out their characteristic laugh to alert their clan, and the feasting begins. Within minutes, entire animals are consumed. And although they are primarily hunters, hyenas don't discriminate when it comes to their food source. They've been seen eating bugs like termites and caterpillars, and also rotting, putrid flesh that other animals refuse to eat, and yet they don't even get sick from it. They happily eat anthrax-infected carcasses and are unaffected by infectious disease outbreaks like rabies and distemper, which have killed many lions and wild dogs. One way they fight off these potentially deadly microbes is by having an incredibly acidic stomach. Herbivores who don't eat risky meat have a stomach pH of 4 to 6. Many carnivores who try to stick to fresh meat have a stomach pH of 3.6, and a hyena's stomach pH is less than 2. This high concentration of hydrochloric acid decimates most bacteria before it can do any damage. Hyenas also have a relatively short digestive tract, which prevents bacteria from lingering too long. Hyenas also likely pass small doses of pathogens around as they groom, eat, and compete with each other, which may help build up group-wide immunity to toxins like anthrax. And on top of this, they have naturally high levels of antibodies. But not all spotted hyenas have the same amount. The higher the social status a spotted hyena has, the more antibodies they carry. Such hyenas are better fed, and spend less energy on hunting and nursing injuries. Lower-ranked hyenas do not get such luxuries. And it's not just antibody levels that are at stake when it comes to the social order of hyenas. In a hyena clan, everything comes down to rank. Spotted hyena clans have the most rigid hierarchy structure of any social mammal, and it really pays to be on top. In addition to better health, a higher rank means more food, stronger allies, and the right to reproduce. And in a clan of spotted hyenas, females are always in charge. Physically, female spotted hyenas are larger than males by as much as 20 kilograms. They're also stronger and arguably meaner. At the top of the group is the alpha female. When she has cubs, they're ranked right beneath her. And as they grow up, their cubs are ranked beneath them, and so on. Daughters usually remain in their birth clan for life and build close relationships with their mothers and sisters. One grouping of mothers and daughters is known as a matrilineal group. Separate matrilineal groups often join together, creating one massive clan. These kin groups are organized within the clan by the dominance level of their oldest female. But unfortunately for males, their place is always at the bottom. The life of a male hyena may start out okay if he's born to a high-ranking female, But this is short-lived. Males are only allowed to stay with their families for around 2 to 3 years. After that, they leave the clan they're born into and beg for admittance into a new one. If accepted, they will rank absolute last, after all females and their cubs, and after other males who joined the clan before them. They are known as immigrant males, and their life basically sucks. They're forced to live on the outskirts, are the last to eat if there's even anything left, and have absolutely no say in when or with who they get to mate. They are generally riddled with injuries, have worn down teeth from chewing on too many bones, and live half as long as females. While the life of a female isn't nearly as bleak, it's endlessly competitive. While males are known appeasers during conflict to avoid losing what little status they have, females are much more aggressive and are constantly picking fights to gain or keep their rank. Clans are usually stable for many years, but if any of the top-ranking females die, peace is no longer guaranteed. A coalition of the lower-ranking females may topple the alpha-female coalition from the throne. Females will even kill each other's cubs to maintain their social standing and to cut their rivals' bloodlines short. In one study that looked at deaths of cubs under 1 year old, 21 out of 99 of them could be attributed to infanticide, always by female killers. Many times, the killer was even related to the cubs she murdered. Even littermates have to compete, sometimes to the death. Most litters have 2 cubs, which fight for the right to nurse first. Sometimes one cub will end up killing their weaker sibling. Half of young hyenas die before reaching maturity. So why do hyenas bother living together if there's so much risk? Because whether they like it or not, they need each other. Because while the risk from hyenas within their own clan is high, the risk from other clans of hyenas or prides of lions is even higher. They need each other to defend themselves and their kills, and to take down large prey. And those immigrant males who all the females seem to hate, they too are recruited to help with hunting or fighting. And these hyena clans, however dysfunctional, are extremely effective. They've been observed defending territories of up to 620 square miles or 1,600 square kilometers from outside threats. A single hyena could not defeat a lion, but a clan of hyenas absolutely can. Hyenas are the only thing lions are regularly seen running from. But as soon as the prey is killed or outside threat is nullified, hyenas within the same clan do try to keep their distance from one another to reduce the chances of confrontation. This arrangement is known as a fission-fusion society. Individuals come together when needed and then disperse as soon as possible. And maintaining this arrangement requires sophisticated communication skills. Spotted hyenas have one of the richest vocal repertoires of any terrestrial mammal. Their famous laugh sounds sinister, but is actually a sign of excitement, fear, or frustration. And their whooping call conveys a wealth of information to their clanmates. It's a haunting sound that can travel up to 3 miles, transporting with it information about the caller, including its identity, sex, and age. Hyenas can even count how many calls they are hearing, a useful tool when trying to gauge whether to fight a rival gang. Hyenas live and die by the clan, a clan ruled by females, a clan whose cooperation breeds competition. But there's one more thing about spotted hyenas that's just downright strange. The reproductive organs of a female spotted hyena look almost exactly like a male's, and scientists don't really know why. The reproductive organs of female spotted hyenas are unlike any other animal, even other hyena species. They have an unusually long clitoris resembling a penis. It's been classified as a pseudopenis or peniform clitoris and is used to urinate, mate, and give birth. They also have a fused and enlarged labia resembling a scrotum. This atypical anatomy has caused researchers to misgender female spotted hyenas as male, only to discover the truth when they've later given birth. This unusual anatomy means they're the only mammal to lack a vaginal opening, which makes mating and birthing very difficult. To mate, a female retracts the pseudo-penis in on itself, kind of like pushing up the sleeve on your shirt, and creates an opening into which the male inserts his own penis. And while this may be difficult, there's one benefit that's clear. It gives the female hyenas complete control over who they mate with, because penetration is impossible without their cooperation. But even when mating does occur, the chances of successful reproduction is low. Hyena's reproductive canal is twice as long as similarly sized animals and includes a hairpin turn, making it an incredibly difficult journey for sperm traveling to the uterus and for cubs during birth. For first-time mothers living in captivity, about 60% of their cubs die, most often from suffocation while getting stuck in the birth canal. These challenges have made scientists wonder why spotted hyenas have evolved in this way. Since reproduction is essential for survival of the species, why has their anatomy developed in such a way that makes it so difficult? It all comes back to competition. Their large skulls, jaws, and teeth are what makes spotted hyenas able to crush bones, which lets them outperform other predators. But growing these features takes several years. So in order for young hyenas to survive long enough to develop them, hyena mothers nurse their cubs for around 14 months and help them get enough food even after they're weaned until they're 3 or 4. This means it's in the interest of the species for birth rates to be lower than other types of predator. Why extra babies have to die in the birth canal or fight each other to the death instead of simply not being conceived in the first place, I don't know. The theme of hyena life seems to be brutality at every turn. But as ruthless as it all seems, so much of what hyenas are fighting for is to keep their cubs alive. Hyenas are very caring mothers. When their cubs die, they are distraught, and they do everything in their power to protect them and keep them safe. The reputation of hyenas as creepy, selfish scavengers is largely misplaced. While their lives are rife with hardship and competition, their capacity for cooperation is unrivaled in the world of predators. And their place among the predators of Africa is not lowly, behind the cheetahs, leopards, and lions. If anything, clans of hyenas are the top among them all. No one knows spotted hyenas better than the people who study them in the field. And of them, no one is more well-versed than expert biologist and animal behaviorist Kay Holcamp. I was lucky enough to snag an interview with her to get the inside story about what it's like to study these amazing creatures in the wild.
Our main research tools are a pair of binoculars and a notebook. We can watch them from about this far away. It's just a blast.
Being in the field with spotted hyenas for so long, Dr. Holcamp has seen a huge array of personalities. And it's impossible to not form attachments to certain individuals.
My favorite hyena of all time was a hyena named Cochise, and she was really curious, a very smart hyena. She figured out that she could go catch a gazelle, and she could do it in the presence of all these other hyenas, and then she would bring it right over and put it right down next to the tire. But nobody else would come that close to the car, and she figured this out right away.
But life in the bush is dangerous.
You know, I saw her get bitten in the face by a big cobra once. She had 2 puncture wounds on either side of her nose, and they started welling up blood. And I thought, oh no, she's going to die now. And she staggered off into the bushes, and I didn't ever expect to see her again. But a couple days later, she comes out of the bushes, and she's looking just fine. So
her stories about how these animals defy death at every turn are incredible. And she explains what humans stand to learn from their near invincibility. But working in the field is no cakewalk either, and hearing her stories about the dangers she and her team face spending months in the field in Kenya are riveting. And most of all, I love doing interviews like this to learn what it's actually like to do the research that I talk about here on YouTube. For everyone who dreams of one day being a biologist, interviews like these with Dr. Holcamp shine a light on the wild adventure that such a career entails. To watch the full, unedited interview, head over to Nebula and find it under the Real Science Field Notes page. Nebula is a streaming platform that we built for exactly this reason, to explore topics more deeply, sometimes in new formats like this interview. Nebula allows me to take risks like this and experiment more, whether it's this extended interview or the Nebula original series I made called Becoming Human, about the incredible story of how we came to understand human evolution. Nebula is a place for all of its creators to make experimental and new content, like Joe Scott's Mysteries of the Human Body, which takes you through some of the most baffling diseases and epidemics from history, or Wendover Productions' Extremities, which shows you why and how people live in Earth's most isolated and extreme settlements. Nebula has even produced a feature-length film called Night of the Coconut and a genre-bending, award-winning play called The Prince, which you can watch in its entirety on Nebula. And now, if you sign up with the link below, subscribers also get access to classes. You can watch dozens of in-depth classes of creators teaching you how to create. So if you sign up using the link below, you can support this channel directly and get both Nebula and Nebula classes for 40% off the annual plan for just $30 for the entire year.